welcome to Werezilla's Retrospective. I'm your host, Werezilla. Mel Brooks has made some funny movies in the past, and Spaceballs is no exception to that rule. Following in the footsteps of Young Frankenstein, which was a clever parody of the old Universal Frankenstein film, Spaceballs took the basic ideas from Star Wars and the space adventure as a whole, and the end result was an absolutely hilarious movie. Something parody makers of this day and age forget is that the jokes have to relate to what the movie is making fun of. From the get-go, it's clear Mel Brooks was a huge fan of the original Star Wars movies, i.e., he knew what he was doing when he was making the movie. Unfortunately, like most skillfully crafted movies that were clearly not meant to have cartoons based on them, Spaceballs got one. And I have to admit, when I first heard there would be a Spaceballs cartoon, I was looking forward to it. Yeah, pretty stupid. Though still not the stupidest thing I've ever done. Hello, and on this episode of Matt Tries, we're going to be trying Bleach. Note to self, stop watching the Cinema Snobs videos so often, becoming a bad influence. But back to this travesty. On the surface, things may seem alright. Mel Brooks returns, as does Joan Rivers and Daphne Zugna as Dot Matrix and Princess Vespa, respectively. I guess it would have been too much to get Rick Moranis to come out of retirement. John Candy, who played Barf, is sadly no longer with us. And as for Bill Pullman, who played main character Lone Star, he couldn't come back because, I don't know, I guess he saw the warning signs that I didn't. Warning sign number 1. It only appeared on G4 TV during its own descent into being a channel about video games to being about anything but games. Warning sign number 2. G4 already had a funny recurring show that I still want to come back, Code Monkeys, a show that was taken down to make room for the Spaceballs cartoon. Warning sign number 3. It was announced in 2007 and was released a year later. As far as cartoons go, who the hell would want to wait that long for a show unless it's in between seasons? And finally, warning sign number 4. The opening theme song.
Spaceballs! Hide your air and hide your water, hide your son and hide your daughter. Here they come, it's time to run away. Spaceballs! They will pillage, they will ravage every village, they will savage. They are here and they are here to stay. They will show no pity, there's no helping hand. They'll destroy your city, they'll destroy your land. Run for shelter, helter skelter, they are in command. Spaceballs! They are monstrous, they are ghoulish, all resistance would be foolish. Spaceballs are coming, so beware!
They're here!
Wow, lots of emphasis on Scroob and yogurt. Let's hope that's just a coincidence. I mean, seriously, Mel Brooks has nearly half a dozen credits. George Lucas didn't have that many spots in the credits over the course of 6 movies. Now this will be a bit different from the last time I reviewed a TV show, because this show doesn't have a linear, overarching storyline. In fact, there are only 13 episodes in the entire series, so you'll have to excuse how episodes that I normally wouldn't talk about because it's filler are pretty much the whole series. I have to give the show credit. It decided to open on a parody of the Star Wars prequels with the episode Revenge of the Sithie. We open at a space casino where Dark Helmet, not even attempting to sound like Rick Moranis, tries out one of the new robot strippers with boobs that actually get bigger with each setting. This scene was influenced by a similar scene in Epic movie, wasn't it? The robot tits eventually knock Helmet's, helmet off, giving him a concussion that cues the flashback to his origin story. Helmet started life as Panikin Crybaby, no, I didn't make that name up, working at his mom's bra store, conveniently owned by Scroob's father. Yogurt, stepping in for Qui-Gon Jinn in this episode, comes in to get a bra for his wife, Yetna. Wait, who? Yogurt had a wife? I don't remember seeing her in the movie. I actually went back and checked all of Yogurt's scenes in the movie, and this Yetna was nowhere to be found. Which is one of 2 possibilities. There actually was a Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money, where she was introduced, and I simply haven't seen it. Or this character was just pulled out of Mel's ass. Anyway, Yogurt realizes Panikin is strong with the Schwartz, but sadly he's being bought away by a guy named Outlet Maul, who is basically Darth Maul and Count Dooku rolled into the same character, which some fans, myself included, believe Darth Maul should have been like in the prequels.
And I have just bought this slave. He is going to help me redesign the galaxy. Right now it is so tacky.
And he still sucks. Panikin wins his freedom in a pod race against Maul, and it's just as pointless here as it was in The Phantom Menace. Panikin enrolls in Yogurt Schwartz Academy that also teaches Dirty Dancing. And what does Dirty Dancing have to do with the Jedi training shown in the prequels? Like his namesake, Panikin ends up falling for a stand-in for Padme Amidala, who I'm sure was given a name in the episode, but that barely matters because I think Padme had more personality than this chick. Years go by, and apparently Scroob eventually takes over his father's business. But this, of course, is not enough to satisfy him, as he and Maul begins their plans for world domination.
Of course!
And here's where we run into our first of many continuity errors. Scroob reveals to Maul that he is a Sithie like him, and that he plans to convert all of Yogurt's students to the Schwartz side of the Schwartz. Okay, first of all, since when was Scroob a master of the dark side? In the movie, he was just a piss-poor politician in charge of Planet Spaceball. It's been over 20 years. It's a little late to make him more like the Emperor. As for the second bit of continuity, there's this Schwartz side of the Schwartz. I thought Helmet already explained the dark side equivalent to Colonel Sanders in the movie.
But sir, your ring. Don't you have the Schwartz too? No, he got the upside. I got the downside.
I mean, did Mel just forget? I knew that the first time I watched this episode right off the top of my head. Anyway, Maul effortlessly gets the students on his side using simple mundane things from his store. I knew the Jedi in the prequels were idiots, but this is just ridiculous. Back with Panikin, he gets a foreboding feeling that his mom is in danger and runs into her just in time for her to die as she hits her head on a rock as she runs away from tax collectors, who Panikin promptly murders with his Schwartz wing. Also, looks like I was wrong when using the term when I said Panikin fell for Padme substitute. What he thinks his love is, in reality, being a pervert. And yet, he's still more subtle than Anakin Skywalker was in Attack of the Clones. Panikin confronts Maul in a room with a conveniently placed bottomless hole, which Panikin promptly lampshades.
Figured I'd find you here in the bottomless pit room.
Why?
'Cause big confrontations always happen next to bottomless pits.
Panikin gets a nasty bump on his head during the fight, but he knocks Maul into the bottomless pit anyway. Scroob shows up and recruits Panikin to join him so he can become a Schwartz master sooner than he could under Yogurt's tutelage. How exactly can the powerless Scroob do this? Who cares? Mel didn't. When Panikin next sees Padme substitute, we have the inevitable, "Oh my god, you're a monster, Obi-Wan was right, you've changed, Annie, you're breaking my heart."
Why? Because I've gone over to the Schwartz side and joined the city?
No, because of that bump on your head. It's grotesque.
He's become the primary villain of Spaceballs, who will go on to cause untold amounts of terror in the galaxy, and it's the bump on his head that's the final straw? Lady, I have seen very, very few love interests that are as shallow as you. Scroob fixes his bump issue by giving him his helmet, and thus the untold origin story of Dark Helmet comes to a close. And to think people thought Darth Vader's origin should have remained a mystery and shrouded in shadow. I realize this is supposed to be a parody, but this actually managed to be even more pathetic than all three prequel movies. And yet, after all that time, we did not see him at any point be the roommate of Lone Star's father's brother's nephew's cousin. We finally see what the actual protagonists of the series are up to in the episode Grand Theft Starship. Apparently, Vespa believes in the stereotype that women don't play video games because she follows it to the letter.
I knew it! You've been playing that video game again, haven't you?
Yes, Your Royal Highness.
Okay, I can understand a different actor playing Lone Star not sounding like Bill Pullman, but why does Vespa sound nothing like she did in the movie? She's played by her original actress! They get sucked into the game thanks to the Schwartz, and it's pretty clear from the start Mel Brooks has never played a Grand Theft Auto game, as several characters from completely different games make cameos. There's Clank. I think that bloody mess in the background there is what's left of Pikachu. Some Terminators here and there. There's a recolor of Katamari Damacy. You know, recurring characters from the Grand Theft Auto games! And while Lone Star and Vespa are fooling around in the game, the Spaceballs successfully conquer the galaxy without interference. Yes, our heroes are so incompetent that we're only 2 episodes into this series and the bad guys have already won.
Now you see that evil will always triumph, because good is dumb.
Helmet and Scroob eventually see what Lone Star and Vespa are up to and follow them into the game. Scroob grants the game's inhabitants unlimited hit points using the Konami code. Well, I guess that's one thing related to games, I guess. And Lone Star and Vespa are forced to contact Barf for help.
Gonna help, eventually, right after I finish my sandwich. I'm sorry. I'm not good at multitasking.
Okay, I'll give the show some credit. They got someone who is at least attempting to sound like John Candy. So with Barf's entrance into the game, Lone Star faces off against the final boss, a giant enemy crab. What, you don't remember that classic face-off at the end of GTA San Andreas? So the crab is defeated, naturally by attacking its weak point for massive damage, allowing our heroes to escape the game. Now, you're probably all wondering the same thing I was when I first saw this episode. What the hell did that have to do with the space saga? Well, sadly, that's the biggest flaw of the series. The characters of Spaceballs are meant to be parodies of Star Wars characters, meaning it's already set in stone what kind of characters they are. All throughout the show's run, they're put in situations that actually clash with the genre of the episode. All the episodes are at fault of this, but the worst offender of this is probably Lord of the Onion Rings. And it's every unfunny Lord of the Rings parody I've ever seen rolled into 22 minutes. Scroob's ancestor, Scroobron, created an onion ring made out of pure evil, which was stolen from Scroo's own father by Lone Star's father during what can only be described as the Space 70s. Barf eventually finds the onion ring, which Yogurt promptly warns of its power. Oh, and get this, Yogurt feels it's necessary for our heroes to take on code names for their mission to destroy the onion ring. Lone Stargorn, Barf Baggins, yeah, it's not bad enough he's already dressed like Frodo, he has to take on his name too, and Vesperwin. Yeah, a simple question, and if you don't have the answer, I completely understand. What is the point? I mean, seriously, it doesn't contribute to the plot of the episode, they don't act like the characters, it has nothing to say about said characters, it isn't funny, so why the hell is this even here? So while the Fellowship of the Onion Ring, Yogurt's words, not mine, are on their way to Lardor to destroy the Onion Ring, Helmet creates a dark army to get the Onion Ring from them. I guess the massive army of Spaceballs, and assholes, already at your command are not enough. Oh, and he accidentally creates a dork army instead. Did the Uruk-hai from Lord of the Rings movies have anything to do with nerds? No, because it isn't funny! So the Onion Ring is destroyed, Lone Star is crowned king, and wait, what? This surprises Vespa? They got married at the end of the movie because Lone Star found out he was royalty. Oh yeah, I can see how Mel overlooked that little factoid considering it was the last scene in the movie and a major plot point regarding Lone Star and Vespa's character development. You cannot just undo the end of the movie just so you can make this joke.
What's the difference? When was the last time you saw a queen that was young and beautiful?
What are you talking about?
How dare you try to turn me into a wrinkly old queen, you filthy pig? Huh. I'm gonna be a princess forever.
That's for sure.
Moving on, next episode's Watch Jurassic Park. And what a shock, it barely has anything to do with a space adventure either. Lone Star and Barf get free passes to a place called Watch Jurassic Park to watch the Spankies train for their next game. I think Vespa has the best reaction to this news.
Who would want to go to some place called Watch Jurassic Park?
Probably the same idiot who has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as the combination on their luggage. Oh, and said idiot apparently owns the sports team Lone Star was so excited to see train here. Yes, Lone Star has knowingly walked into a place that's owned by the Spaceballs.
Now you see that evil will always triumph, because good is dumb.
Scroob explains he has mutated several athletes using steroids and dinosaur DNA to create a form of super athlete to have the greatest team in the universe. Yeah, Scroob, Dark Helmet conquered the galaxy 2 episodes ago! Who cares about the sports world? Instead of jumping the asshole right then and there, they go into the park with Scroob's annoying little nephew and 2 anonymous lawyers. Oh yes, I'm so sure 2 characters that are actually named Anonymous Lawyer 1 and 2 will survive a park full of athlete dinosaur hybrids.
Oh! He bit off the lawyer's ear! Oh, and there goes the rest of him! No, not the other anonymous lawyer!
Oh look, they both die. What a shock. Sadly, not only does the annoying little girl live, but she ends the episode with one of the worst Deus Ex Machinas I've ever seen in a show.
It means their records don't really count. It's every two-step athlete's worst fear. For example, Harry Bronze achieved 762 home runs in 1 game. But the asterisk tells you he was using steroids and dino DNA. He was juiced, pumped up. Take this, that, nose. Asterisks for everybody.
Oh, by Jove, it works! The precocious little girl's a hero!
Wait, what's the joke? Connecting Jurassic Park and sports? What does any of that have to do with anything? Alright, what do we have for this episode? Outbreak? What's it gonna half-ass parody this time? Let's see. Barf tries Helmet's new toxic soda that causes planet Spaceball to suffer a horrible disease.
All of planet Moron is infected.
Oh, okay, I guess we forgot what the name of the planet the villains come from is. I can see how Mel could forget a planet that shares the same name as the movie's title! Not to mention it was on all the merchandising.
Spaceballs the t-shirt. Spaceballs the coloring book. Spaceballs the lunchbox. Spaceballs the breakfast cereal. Spaceballs the flamethrower.
The rest of the episode's lame too. Overemphasis on Barf and the inhabitants of Planet Spaceball, Planet Moron, barfing en masse. Look, show, you overemphasize every drop of blood spilled in a show based off a PG movie. Was a massive puke scene across a whole planet necessary? When Austin Powers Goldmember has more restraint than Mel Brooks, you know there's a massive problem with the storytelling. Also, according to Wikipedia, this episode is supposed to parody Quarantine. I cannot find any connection to that movie in this episode in any way.